Prime Minister, the Honourable Mia Amor-Motley, Minister with responsibility for culture, Senator the Honourable Chantal Munro-Knight, Chairman of the Board of the Goddard Enterprises Limited, Mr. Charles Herbert, and other members of the GEL Board, CEO, Managing Director, Goddard Enterprises Limited, Mr. Anthony Alley, and other managers and staff of Goddard Enterprises Limited, GEL 100th Anniversary Award Competition finalists and semi-finalists, specially invited entrepreneurs, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Good afternoon. I am Margaret Allman Goddard, the PR consultant for Goddard Enterprises Limited and a member of the 100th Anniversary Committee for that company, and I am pleased to be your host for this ceremony this afternoon. Now, back in 2020, as we met to make plans for the anniversary and we worked through the lockdowns of this new Zoom technology business, and the concept of the 3-year competition was suggested, 2024 seemed so very far away. However, here we are at the end of the competition, about to declare a winner. Did someone say time flies? But I am sure that it must have been a mix of emotions for the entrepreneurs who entered the competition. Exciting, challenging, stimulating, interesting, and for the finalists, possibly testing at times, I'm sure. However, you have reached the end of the line, and the big moment is coming when all will be revealed. But to officially welcome you here and give some insight as to why the company got involved in the competition for entrepreneurs, please welcome now the Chairman of Goddard Enterprises Limited, Mr. Charles Herbert.
Prime Minister Motley, Senator Munro-Knight, and special guests, welcome this evening. I want to welcome each and every one of you to this final award ceremony of our 100th Anniversary Entrepreneur Award. Prime Minister, I'd like to thank you for agreeing to be here and agreeing to give remarks. Your endorsement gives impetus to this and other efforts to promote local entrepreneurs. Goddard Enterprises celebrated 100 years of being in business on October the 13th, 2021. And this competition was a major part of the celebrations. The fact that this competition had to be organized through a pandemic and the entrepreneurs who entered would have faced challenges that other businesses would not normally have to face in their infancy is a testimony to all those who took part. And I want to say congratulations to the semi-finalists and the finalists, because we know that it would not have been the easy road that you traveled. Indeed, we traveled it as well. In 2019, as 2021 approached, we were reminded that the 100th anniversary was coming, and we needed to get together and design plans for this historic event. We had our first meeting in 2029, and we formed our committee. We had actually put together a draft plan of activities, but had to restrict and adjust them because of the lockdowns and the fact that we could not gather for most of 2021. One of the few things that we were able to do was the Entrepreneur Award competition, as it didn't require a lot of contact, and we wanted to give some young business people or companies a good solid grounding for their business as we look forward to the next 100 years. It was at one of our first planning meetings that our CFO, Natasha, suggested that we use the opportunity to give some small businesses $100,000 to mark a 100th anniversary. As you know, when a financial officer wants to give away money, that is very, very significant. Additionally, Tony recalled that the PM had suggested to him that we should be encouraging entrepreneurship. The rest of the committee enthusiastically accepted and developed Natasha's idea. And the rest of the pages are missing. No? No, it isn't. Sorry. You will hear later from Tony about the logistics of the competition, but I wanted to share some notable extracts from Goddard's history as it relates to entrepreneurs. First of course, there was Joseph Nathaniel Goddard, who walked his cow from Martins Bay to Bridgetown and opened a grocery with a loan from Mr. Gill in 1921. Second, there was Mr. Fred Goddard, who with his wife prepared sandwiches for Trans-Canada Airline flights to Toronto. And from that, our largest division, the Goddard Catering Group, was born. Next, there was a partnership with the Hoyt family, initially Jeffrey Hoyt, which led to the formation of Antiseptic and Terrific Tiles as a joint venture between the Hoyts and Goddards. Finally, I would note was the joint venture between the Evelyn brothers, Paul and Jules, from which Caribbean Label Craft was started and has now grown to include operations in Jamaica and Dominican Republic. Today, we hope that we will have made some contribution to encouraging and empowering these entrepreneurs who entered the competition to consolidate and finance their ideas and dreams. And our sincere hope is that they will grow and prosper to one day rival the legacy of J.N. Goddard. We've invited a number of entrepreneurs from various organizations that we had initially approached about the competition. And we encourage you during the mix and mingle after to meet a new business person like yourself. You never know when that contact may be helpful to you or to them. So let me once again extend a warm welcome to all and invite you to enjoy the time spent with us today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Herbert. Well, you know when you have a beauty pageant just before the announcement, there is a final walk down the aisle by the last person who held the crown, and you hear how it was for her and what happened during her reign. Well, in this case, we're going to hear from the 3 finalists about their experience in this competition before the winner is announced, because they would have come through the preliminaries, the semis, and the final year with all the challenges and the rewards as well. So now I'd like to invite the 3 finalists who will come and share a bit of their experience with us and tell us what it was like to be a part of this competition. They are Deborah Bishop from BB's Mushrooms. She's growing mushrooms in Barbados. Michael Thornton from Mike's Bajan Beverages. He is selling rum-based beverages and is trying to take them international. And Dale Trotman from MedRegis, he has developed a system to keep outpatient medical records electronically. I won't be back at the mic in between each one, so I will let you each come up, one after the other, and make your presentations. First, Deborah Bishop.
Good afternoon, Honorable Prime Minister Mia Mottley, Chairman Charles Hebert, Chief Executive Anthony Alley, other distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be part of this competition and of course of these proceedings. I've always wanted to be part of something that was entrepreneurship, and I've always had an interest in mushroom production. On returning to Barbados, I wanted to explore the possibilities of developing this idea into a business. I would often follow various aspects of mushroom production on the internet, so I had some knowledge and ideas of how the mushrooms production went. When I received the first initial telephone call from the chairman, informing me of being chosen as one of the 8 businesses to participate in the 100-year celebration enterprise competition. As you can imagine, I was elated. The idea I held became a possibility to produce mushrooms in Barbados as a business. Almost all mushrooms in Barbados are imported. So with my business idea is somewhat unique, the challenges are plenty. The tropical climate requires strict environmental controls, and of course, running the business needs both knowledge, discipline, and good management. Goddard's history in the business field assured me that I was in good hands. They began over 100 years, as you well know, from a small store. which my family frequented, I was told. And my mom often spoke about Mr. Goddard, how he would stand in front of the store and greet his people coming into the store. Sorry. Okay, that was located in Bridgetown and was led by Joseph and Victor Goddard. Their success is, from this humble beginnings, is confirmed in the subsequent growth into a Caribbean conglomerate. The injection of funds enabled me to start my own business when at a time I couldn't do that. It provided me with a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I was able to build a small mushroom facility. I was able to purchase essential equipment and import mushroom mycelium. And so my mushroom business began to be a reality. Being given to Goddard's printing company, the Caribbean Label Press, they enabled me to collaboratively work with them to produce a distinctive business logo and packaging that conveyed a professional look to my potential customers, and I was very thankful for that. To some extent, my business branding was well underway at that time. Refining mushroom production has been a challenge over the last 2 years, but the support from the Goddards that enabled me to successfully keep going and bring my mushroom productions to the marketplace. However, I must stress that maintaining environmental and pest control are still a challenging issue. I'm working to overcome the challenge as the business further grows and have access to more capital, which would improve with better equipment. I'm reminded at this time of an organizational psychologist who wrote in a book about the importance of surmounting possible stumbling blocks and how it is through facing and overcoming difficulties that we learn our greatest lessons in life. And again here, this is what I found in starting as an entrepreneur and building a business from scratch. The success of the startup of the mushroom business was also recognized, and my business partner and I was sponsored by the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Safety to attend an online mushroom growing course that was delivered by the People's Republic of China and funded by the United Nations. This aided both of us in understanding the mushroom growing business and all aspects of what we found were necessary in developing our business. Being shortlisted to the final 3 companies gave me a further push in this business. It confirmed that Goddard's had confidence in me and my business. The cash injection was important, as this enabled me to import new varieties of mushroom mycelium and purchase much-needed equipment to support the growth of the business. After providing mushroom samples to various potential clients, feedback from these were very good. They were shop owners, personal chefs, and hoteliers. And as they wanted to purchase my mushrooms, I started to service these mushrooms to the organizations. As the saying goes, as we sometimes say, Rome was not built in a day. Certainly Goddard's was not, for they weren't even built in 10 years. I am, however, very fortunate to have a sponsor and mentors who have successfully negotiated the many challenges and pitfalls they face and given me access to their knowledge and experience so I can avoid these same mistakes. With strategic planning, Goddard's has been able to grow to the company it is today. BB's Mushrooms plans is to expand its production to include other varieties of mushrooms such as portobello, almond mushrooms, king oysters, and some medical mushrooms like lion's mane and reishi. I can't say what will happen to BB's mushrooms in the next 100 years' time. I would, however, like to offer you a picture of the dream that I have for BB's mushrooms in the next 10 years. I would like it to be a leading mushroom grower in Barbados and the CARICOM region, significantly contribute to the reduction of mushroom imports in Barbados, be a provider of mushroom derivative products, and offer these to the marketplace. I thank my family, especially my sisters Audrey and Julie, and John Brewster, my business partner, for their encouragement and support. Finally, I offer full thanks to Goddard Goddards for their support. Without you, I would not be standing here today. You have given me inspiration and helped me to realize my goals. And I just want to say thank you very much.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, Honourable Prime Minister, Mr. Herbert, Mr. Ali. I am filled with gratitude and the opportunity to reflect what being part of the competition over the last 3 years has meant to me. Being a winner of this award in both 22 and 23 from Goddard Enterprises has an honour that extends far beyond personal achievement. It represents the culmination of a journey marked by dedication, resilience, and unwavering passion. Their belief in fostering innovation and nurturing small business has provided a platform for dreams to flourish. It allowed me to grow my business from a small home-based operation to truly becoming an entrepreneur, purchasing a delivery vehicle, a mobile bar, and an awesome automated lime squeezer, which can squeeze a ton of limes in an hour. Also, moving from home into a small factory saved my marriage, all due to Goddard's belief and their steadfast support in entrepreneurs like myself. To Mr. Ali and Mr. Herbert, the entire Goddard Enterprise team, thank you for Thank you for an incredible 3 years in which I learned and grew. Thank you, Mr. Moutet and Anne-Marie Marshall, for your hands-on mentorship. I am now in a position to look ahead to the future with excitement and anticipation. Thank you so much for opening doors and opportunities to assist me, mentoring, support, and advice and guidance, and of course, the financial asset assistance has all aided me in becoming what I am today, Barbara's #1 rum punch.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, Prime Minister Motley and the management team of Goddard. Boy, looking back at this entire journey, even looking back at my journey as an entrepreneur, when I first started with MedRegis, I just wanted to solve the problem in the Caribbean where healthcare was largely paper-based and we needed to move towards being digital. And in having that idea, I had no way at that point in time to start MedRegis. I was not a developer. I had no funding. I started like most entrepreneurs, an idea to solve a problem that could probably go global. Even though I did not have the tools at the point in time, I know this is what I wanted to do. And I strive towards achieving this by aligning myself with people, organizations, and work that can grow MedRegis and grow myself as an entrepreneur and a CEO of a company. I am very thankful for the opportunities you've given me, that Goddard has given me, because creating a health technology company is not an easy task. It's not an easy task. It's a lot of work, and being able to get the guidance of Mr. Ali and his team, being able to receive funding that helped me develop the application, where during this period, we received our first major client, which was urgent care. And we also have clients throughout the Caribbean. And a lot of this is in part of the support and the opportunities that Goddard has placed in MedRegis and my path. So again, I would like to thank you guys for everything you all have done for me so far. My aim is to continue growing. We are in 3 other Caribbean countries. The aim is to become the pioneering health technology company in the region and probably expand into Africa and make not just myself proud and MedRegis proud, but make this country proud that we produce a world-class company right here from our shores. Thank you.
Thank you to all three of you. Don't you want to say just, oh, wow? Very good. Congratulations to all three. So now it is time to get some more detail about this competition and what happened during those 3 years between the pandemic and now. How did it actually work? And what were the steps that they had to take along the way? Well, to share the logistics and eventually announce the winner, please welcome the CEO, Managing Director of Goddard Enterprises Limited, Mr. Anthony Ali.
Thanks, Margaret. Good evening, Madam Prime Minister, Minister of Energy and Business Development, the Honorable Lisa Cummings, Minister in the Prime Minister's Office responsible for culture, Senator Dr. Chantal Monroe-Knight, Chairman of Goddard Enterprises, Charles Herbert, the Goddard Anniversary Award Competition finalists and semi-finalists, some of whom are here today, specifically invited entrepreneurs, colleagues of Goddard Enterprises, members of the board of Goddard Enterprises, members of the press, and ladies and gentlemen. You've heard from Charles Herbert why we felt pride in getting this competition set for our 100th anniversary. And I want to share with you a little bit of the outline and explain to you how we actually got to this point. It all started, for me, with a conversation with the Honorable Prime Minister during a meeting with a number of other business executives, where she said, and I quote her, "We need to encourage entrepreneurship. We need to be just like Goddard's was when it started. How do we drive that back into our society and our overall youth?" So, Madam PM, that prompt from the Prime Minister became my catalyst, as well as Natasha's comments during the meeting of how we would actually design this program. So one of the things we didn't want to do for the anniversary was just give away some money to entrepreneurs and, just review a couple of proposals, hand out some money. What we really wanted to do was to really try to understand how we could have much more of an impact. So we wanted it to be sustainable and eventually have companies that were successful. We wanted to make sure that the entrepreneurs were committed and had a solid plan to move forward. We therefore designed a program that would last 3 years and would hopefully establish entrepreneurs for the long haul. And this really mimicked a lot of what we did when we started, and we meaning the Goddard family, which started 103 years ago. And it started with some support from a number of people, and it also started with a loan, a $300 loan from CIBC. And for all of you entrepreneurs in the room, we specifically made sure we invited some members from CIBC here so you can have an opportunity to talk to them about your plans and how they can support you as you grow. I won't point them out to you yet. I'll wait till we get out in the foyer. We basically threw it open to all entrepreneurs across the region, Latin America, Barbados, and the Caribbean. And we had one award that was specifically set aside for the family members, for a family member. What we tried to do was to represent all of the geographies that we currently operate in, and that's 26 countries today. So we wrote to a number of organizations in all of those countries that assist entrepreneurs, asking them to encourage them to submit their proposals and to be part of our overall presentation. We decided that for the first phase, for everyone, we wanted to submit financial plans, sales and marketing plans, and an overall business proposal. A team comprising of myself, the CEO, the chairman, Charles, a marketing executive, Nicholas Mute, and a finance executive, Natasha, examined the description of the businesses, its benefits to the community. We asked them for an analysis of the market size and potential and the need for that product or services, and we wanted to know what the competitive advantages of their businesses were. All of that was submitted as part of the competition. This was the first lesson, by the way, for the entrepreneurs. Everyone had to get the discipline of being able to present your business to potential investors in the future to allow it to grow. So we felt that was the first lesson. We were looking for 10 semifinalists, and we had allocated 3 spots from the Caribbean, 4 from Barbados, 2 from Latin America, and 1 for the Gels family member. In the end, we felt that we didn't have enough qualified submissions from LATAM, and so we then reallocated these to end up with 4 from the Caribbean, 5 from Barbados, and 1 from the Gel family. These 10 semifinalists were given $10,000 each and were to put into their businesses. We assigned 2 mentors for each business. One would be a finance mentor, another would be a general business mentor. These were management teams from our general businesses that were in the country where the submissions were made. I must say here a personal word about being a mentor and the process, since I was one myself. I found it particularly encouraging and enriching to basically work with young people trying to develop a business from scratch. I have to say that the entrepreneurs had a good understanding, but they really needed some support. In the end, I can also tell you that my organization that I was supporting didn't make it to the finalists. And that's not a reflection of them, but nonetheless, that's where we were. And a big part of that was, again, not just giving the money, but giving them the support. The coaching and the mentorship for us was part of this, and it was significant because it really did help a lot of the companies develop. The 10 finalists were from Jamaica, Nella's Tenderonis. It's a company that produces healthy pasta from sweet potato. Z-Rise, a company assisting Caribbean creative persons. From St. Vincent, we had Caraway, an online tourism company. From Trinidad, we had Yalla's Mobile Tire Service, a woman-owned and operated business that basically comes to you to do repairs for your tires or sell you tires. From Barbados, we had Olawi Comics, a locally based producer of comic books. Gems Gourmet Chocolates, a local chocolatier. Med Regis, Dale is here with us today. Mike's Bajan Beverages, and BB Mushrooms. You heard from all three of them earlier today. And lastly, the family member was Cool Comforts Frozen Delights, a producer of healthy ice cream alternatives and fruit-based desserts. At the end of that year, each of the entrepreneurs had to submit a progress report, an updated business plan on the company and how it was performing, showing the progress that they'd made during the prior year and giving us projections for the future. Of those 10 semifinalists, 3 finalists were selected based on their submissions and the discussions with their mentors. I want to acknowledge, and I'm pleased to see that some of the entrepreneurs are here today for the companies that didn't make it into the finalists. I also must add that navigating business during that period was extremely difficult because we were in the middle of the uncertainty caused by the pandemic and all the various supply chain issues, operational issues that surfaced during that period made it extremely challenging for these entrepreneurs. But again, they were all up to the challenge. The 3 who made it to the finalists, to the final stage, Med Regis, Mike's Bajan Beverages, and BB Mushrooms, were all from Barbados. That must also say something. So again, proud to see that the Barbados entrepreneurs made it all the way through. Those 3 were given $25,000 each and a year to continue to develop their business model with the mentors that they had. A few weeks ago, they were asked to submit their final report to inform us of how they had progressed the last year and what their plans were for the future. The winning company would win $50,000 as the grand prize and the title of Goddard Enterprises 100th Anniversary Entrepreneur. The judging panel met to look at these 3 businesses, and I have to say it was very close. It was still very close. In fact, it was too close. So in order to better appreciate the work and the accomplishments, we decided to conduct some interviews and check references. After doing all of that, it was still very close, but the judges had to make a final decision. Because the businesses were so different and had very different potentials for success in the future, and we were so impressed, we decided to award 2 companies the grand prize of $50,000 each. So, I'm proud to announce the 2 winners of the competition. I'm waiting for the drum roll. The 2 winners for the competition for the final prize of $50,000 are Med Regis and Mike's Bajan Beverages, Mike's Rum Punch. Congratulations to you both. I know it wasn't easy to get to this point, but I want to compliment all of you for both the drive and the determination that you all showed, allowing for you to succeed in the overall long haul. However, the journey is not over. There's going to be a lot of bumps along the way. There always are, trust me. But just remember the perseverance that got you here in the first place. Things will change and you will have to adopt because, remember, we are planning for you to be here for the next 100 years and to be the next Goddard Enterprises. Madam Prime Minister, we took the heat of what you said, and from that idea that you threw out a couple of years ago, here we are today with 2 businesses that have gotten off to a great start. Congratulations, Mike and Dale.
Well, thank you, Mr. Ali. Congratulations to both Dale and Mike. Very well done. And to make the presentation, I'd now like to invite the Group Chief Financial Officer, Mrs. Natasha Small, who wanted to give away $100,000 way back in 2021. So this evening, she gets her chance to do just that. Natasha, if you would come and stand over here, the prizes will come to you. There's a little X right there. That's your spot. Thank you. X marks the spot. And we'd like to invite first Dale to collect your prize. Congratulations to Dale. That's the part you want to see. I see the bankers are in the back, and they'll probably tell you it has to be transferred. No checks these days. All right, congratulations, Dale Trotman of Med Regis. One last shot. You know the photographers always have to get shots, but we'll also have some photo moments right after we are all done. And then Mike, you're invited up next. Congratulations. And by the way, you'll get to taste Mike's Bajan beverages because there's going to be a sample during the mix and mingle. Well, we actually just heard from you guys, but that was when you were finalists. But now you are winners. So can we have a quick word from you now that you know that your hard work has paid off? Who wants to go first? Dale, you're going to come first?
Hello again, everybody. I'm not even a bit, I'm a lot overjoyed. It shows my speech now, so I have to rethink what I want to say. First, I want to thank, again, the Goddard team. This has been an amazing journey, and I am glad that I'm one of your finalists. I promise you I'm going to continue to work hard. I promise you I'm going to continue to build Med Regis, and I promise you my aim is going to stay the same, to strive for digital excellence in healthcare throughout this entire region. And you will be a part of that history when we do that as well. I also want to thank Prime Minister Motley for creating the environment for us entrepreneurs to grow here in Barbados. There's a lot of changes that you've made since you become the Prime Minister that I appreciate, and I think you're going to see a lot of fruits from those changes, especially as it relates to tech entrepreneurship here in the country. So thank you for those changes, and thank you for moving this country forward. Med Regis is not just a service. Med Regis is a plan towards progress within healthcare. We have clinics throughout the Caribbean utilizing our solutions. They know the trajectory of health technology, and they are choosing a company that is at the forefront of this innovation. There are governments who understand where we are going as it relates to our AI. We are implementing AI through partnerships and telehealth, where we want to revolutionize patient outcomes, continuity of care, and care delivery in the Caribbean, especially in areas like accident and emergency, which is a challenge for virtually all Caribbean countries. We have partnerships, as I just mentioned, with leading global health technology companies. And the aim there is to bring unique and exclusive product offerings to the Caribbean, and that will set us apart from our competition. By joining our community, I'm telling medical stakeholders now, by joining our community, You are not just going to be adapting to the digital age, you are going to be leading it. And as the CEO of MedRegis, I invite all doctor offices, clinics, hospitals, and ministries of health to join me on this transformative journey. We are striving for digital excellence in healthcare, and we want to move the Caribbean forward as one, and we want those stakeholders at the forefront of our journey. Together, we will make healthcare in the Caribbean not just the best in this side of the region, but the best in the world. Because the advantage we have is healthcare is largely paper-based. We can learn from the mistakes made in places like US and produce a world-class product that the whole world can look upon. Thank you.
I stand before you today with a heart burdened with gratitude and excitement as we accept the prestigious award from the Goddard Enterprises Limited. It is a moment of immense pride to all of us at Mike's Bajan Beverages. First and foremost, I want to express my deepest appreciation to Goddard Enterprises and their unwavering support and belief in entrepreneurs like us. Your commitment is to fostering innovation and nurturing small business is truly commendable. Your words, encouragement, Mr. Ali, resonate deep within me. Indeed, the passion is the driving force behind every successful venture, and we are fueled by the unyielding passion and craft and experience exceptional beverage that captures the essence of the Barbados and visitors to our island. To my dedicated team, Matthew, my son, David, Unita, Dwayne, Jamal, and to my marketing guru of a wife. This award is a testament to all of our hard work, creativity, and unwavering commitment to excellence. Each one of you has played an integral role in being my vision of life, and I am incredibly grateful for your dedication and passion. As an entrepreneur, we often negotiate a challenging landscape filled with obstacles and uncertainties. Yet, it is these very challenges that fuel our determination to find ways over, under, or around these solutions. And with the support of Goddard Enterprise mentors, Mr. Mote and Ms. Marshall, we were empowered to overcoming any hurdle that came our way and continue our journey towards success. It would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the valuable support of my customers, your endorsements and beliefs in our vision of being a source of strength and inspiration throughout the journey. In accepting this award, we are not only celebrating our achievement, but also reaffirming our commitment to innovation, quality, and excellence. We are now poised to reach newer heights and make lasting impact in the beverage industry. Thank you once again, Mr. Ali, Mr. Herbert, Mr. Mote, and the entire Goddard Enterprises team for this incredible honor. Cheers to the future.
Thank you, Mike, and congratulations again. Well, now it is time to hear from the lady whose spark lit the fire to get this competition going many years ago. Madam Prime Minister, did you think that what you said could have resonated in such a way as to help create this competition so that these two gentlemen now have a more solid foundation for their businesses? And now they have to ensure that there is succession planning for it to be around for the next 100 years. That's the challenge. Ladies and gentlemen, to deliver now the feature address, please welcome our Prime Minister, Mia Amor-Motley.
Thank you very much, Margaret. Mr. Chairman, CEO, Chief Finance Officer of the Goddards Group, members of the Goddards family, ministers, Executive Director of the Small Business Association, and of course, the finalists and the families that support the finalists and the winners. If it was as easy to say something and make this happen, I will say a lot more things. Like I just told Mr. Ali that on one of our last meetings, we talked about the possibility of hyper expanding and exporting to Africa. So I look forward to that in 3 years' time too. But all jokes aside, and that wasn't a joke, actually. That was dead serious. I am elated to be here because this company represents, still for us, one of the largest companies that remains Barbadian to its core in spite of its reach across 26 countries. We have seen a number of companies over the years change hands, and we have seen Barbadians lament. But the truth is, when we lament, it is because individuals have chosen to pursue individual prosperity through sale rather than enduring and building. And the message that this competition reinforced in all of us is that nothing happens overnight or simply. That Goddard's Enterprise Limited created an entrepreneurial competition across the region that was not limited to a one-off award, really is the genius of what we are here witnessing this evening. The reality is that there is no business, as I'm sure the SBA will tell us, that can just rise overnight just like that and not face the difficulties and challenges. You'll see spikes up and spikes down. And the reality is that small businesses, because of the lack of depth of both human and financial resources, are therefore more vulnerable to the shocks that come about. There was no greater shock in our post-independence environment than the environment within which this competition was founded, the shock of the COVID pandemic. The reality is that 40% of our economy, directly and indirectly, is driven by the tourism and hospitality sector. And when the airport shut and restrictions on movement came, you realize that it wasn't just the tourists not getting there, but the farmers who rear pigs had problems. The drivers of the trucks who bring the goods to the hotels no longer had work. And a whole ecosystem collapsed. The small businesses who support people who are employees that would otherwise have gone for a hairdo or a pedicure, or who might have bought something from a small business owner, a piece of a scarf, whatever. All of a sudden, all of those were affected. And if we doubt the role that governments play, we had to create a new benefit, a business interruption benefit, in order to be able to stabilize some, because we're not going to fool ourselves. We know some would have fallen through the cracks, but we were able equally to help some. This country is not only independent now, it is a republic. And nobody's going to come and give us a handout just so. We're going to make our way in this world by what we can create and produce. And that is not the country alone, because the country is simply the amalgamation of businesses and households and all that we can create. But one of the constraints that we have that we've not overcome is that our market size is simply too small. It's just too small. And if we are not prepared to look beyond our shores, it is going to mean that if people want to maintain their quality of life and their standard of living, they're going to push up their prices, particularly those that are discretionary, in order to be able to sustain the quality of life that they want. That then means that you're going to become uncompetitive. Now, we have known this for some time, and we know a lot of the things that we need to do for some time. We have the CARICOM single market and economy as a means of expanding our domestic base from under 300,000 to just about 6 million. But how many of us are really exploiting it? We do have some level of success, don't get me wrong, because I make the point that the OECS is actually the only region in the world with which Barbados has a trade surplus. But we can do much more and more effectively. I want to continue to encourage and urge our people to recognize that there are many reasons why you should not put all your eggs in one basket. It's a simple thing that we were taught as children. And if we believe that all of our business can only be in Barbados, then when Barbados is hit by a hurricane, or when Barbados is hit by a major international economic shock, then you're going to get those dips. By all means, your foundation is here. But you have to start to reach outside our borders. And there's no better example of this once again than the company who has sponsored these awards this evening, because it is the companies like Goddard's, and I can name 6 or 8 or 10 others. They're not public, but they're larger companies, Bajan companies, who survive what we call the lost decade because of their earnings from outside. And when we speak, therefore, about becoming climate resilient or resilient financially and economically, these are the things that we are speaking to. But it requires us not to have conversation, which Bajans are good at, but to also have action to anchor those conversations in concrete ways. The second point that I'd like to make is that you cannot have near $14 billion in savings in a banking system and not overcome the hurdle of finding other ways of financing companies, particularly small and medium-sized companies, not so much the nano ones, but financing them only through debt. We have talked about it over and over and over and over. And we have to reach the point where we confront the elephant in the room, which is the absence of trust. How do we foster and build trust? The legal instruments are all there, you know. There's no issue with the legal instruments. There's no issue with the access to capital. But there's an issue with the trust on the side of those who are to receive investments in their business and on the side of those who are to part with their funds to invest in businesses. And I want to challenge all of us in this room, the government, the Small Business Association, the large companies, the smaller companies, I see some bankers in the room, to recognize that as Barbadians, we will do ourselves an injustice if we do not allow the aphorism, many hands make light work, to find itself translated into a financial and economic construct. You cannot have the level of savings in our banking sector earning interest that is less than inflation, which means, therefore, it is a diminishing asset, without being prepared to risk some of it in productive activities that can help grow this country. The government has tried to do a few things to be able to continue to encourage incipient entrepreneurship. I remember it was a Leo Leacock lecture, I believe, where we spoke about, I think it was Professor Prasad who spoke about the decriminalizing of entrepreneurship in Barbados. And the government has systematically tried to do that. When we were faced even with this last set of decisions on the corporation taxes, we remained resolute that we were not going to change the corporation tax rate for small businesses in Barbados. I know that there are some other things that the SBA has asked for, and the Ministry of Finance is reviewing them, because equally we recognize that there's a need to increase the thresholds in a number of things, because thresholds, once remaining what they are over a long period of time, become erosive in terms of the group they can help. Similarly, we talked about microleasing, and we are happy that at Newton, we have been able to establish a major food production facility that is already exporting and qualified to export into the United States of America, and hopefully by the end of this year will equally be HACCP compliant. And we've done that largely because a lot of small entrepreneurs can't afford to go and buy the fancy equipment. Mike, you talk about the machine for the limes. I agree with you. That anybody who cut limes often know that you better don't cut them and squeeze them where your fingernail got a cut, because you can feel what God is serving then. So that a lot of the equipment that we need, individuals can't access it on their own. And therefore, government's role through the BIDC Export Barbados is to be able to help create those opportunities. And while we've done it with the food sector, we have now to do it with the clothing and garment sector. And in the services sector, in the cultural industries, I have asked for us to create a facility that effectively has green screens and access to computer equipment and digital editing, that anybody from the Orleans right back up to Picard and St. Lucie can come down with ideas and get their little piece of time and do what they need to do, and at least have a platform upon which they can then sell their product. Same thing with respect to the use of technology and artificial intelligence. And we are going to ensure in the near future that we are going to partner to be able to create more innovation prizes at the national level, but also at the international level, because Barbados cannot be on its own in this place. We ask our people to be global citizens with Bajan roots, because that, in a very real sense, is our future, but it was always part of our base. The role of Barbados in the 17th century, for the wrong reasons, allowed it to become a preeminent center for commerce that drove the revenue of the United Kingdom. The role of Barbados in the 21st century can continue to be a country that not just punches above its weight, but that can provide access and leadership and opportunity as an international hub. We have a sweet spot in terms of our geographical location that we've not fully exploited. We're a little too south and east for the traditional track. Doesn't mean we won't get hit, but we're not in the same risk framework that the others are. And it's a little too high north for the kinds of torrential rains and floods that you see in the Latin American thing. And even though we complain about the heat today, it is still better than most because of where we are geographically. At the same time, we have the oceans. At the very time that the world sees the oceans as the next frontier to save the planet. So how do we not see ourselves as a large ocean state? And how are we not driving more entrepreneurship within the marine environment to give ourselves a competitive advantage over others? The third thing that I want to raise is the question of partnerships. You are here because of the partnerships over the course of the last 3 years. It's not just a case of a check. It was the mentorship and the support and the partnerships, not necessarily business partnerships, but partnerships in mission, the objective. I'm happy that in our discussions this afternoon, that both Goddard's Enterprise Limited as well as myself as Prime Minister are so happy with the progress of this competition that the two of us believe that we should do this nationally. And we are prepared to work with the Small Business Association and the two of us to anchor a framework that will allow other companies nationally to come on board and to use this as a model for being able to invite other companies into an ecosystem where the support and mentorship can be given and where we can have it over a period of time, because it is only in the creation of new habits that you are going to be able to make a success of business ventures for the most part. So that I look forward to having Minister Cummins meet with Goddard's Enterprise Limited and the SBA to see how we can take this and supersize this to be able to have more people benefit from the opportunities, but to recognize that this is not a one-off instant competition or a scratch thing that you can just come and win some money and go along about your business, but that this requires effort, dedication, learning, commitment, and we will use the same 3-year type model on a rotational basis, I would imagine, to ensure that we can encourage greater corporate social responsibility on the part of more companies in Barbados in the way that Goddard's Enterprise Limited has led the way on this, their 100th anniversary project. So my friends, this is a Friday evening, and I do not intend to keep you here long. I have a speech in me to give on national entrepreneurship, but I will not do that this evening because that is going to require a longer explanation and expression on why, in a climate resilient world, this is the only way we can go. And to remind ordinary Bajans that cash in your pocket is just that. Here today, gone tomorrow. And that if you want to create wealth, then you need intergenerational transfer of capital from one generation to the next. This company, I suspect, is now in its 4th generation of leadership, and the fact that it had the courage to go public while still being able to retain the essence of its Barbadianness in the majority of its ownership is a matter of tremendous pride for us as Barbadians. I am not one, and I've said it before and I repeat it now, I am not one who complains that the Trinidadians coming up here and buying up all the things, because I ain't seen nothing wrong with our hands and our feet and our minds and our commitment. Barbadians must stand and start to use their capital in a more strategic and aggressive way, and we must confront that big issue of the trust deficit to allow us to pool our capital in order for that capital to be strategic. And if we do that, just as others come in to our shores, and just as Goddard's has gone into 26 countries across the hemisphere, other companies that are Barbadian can grow and do the same. The government has spent a lot of time opening up embassies in Africa, not because of only the historic and cultural bonds, but whether we like it or not, Africa is going to be the one continent with the hugest demographic dividend for the rest of this century. There are more people under the age of 30 than anywhere else. And once again, Goddard's went on a tour across Africa looking for opportunities. And that's the message I want to send to other companies locally. The government has an embassy in Accra, in Ghana. We have an embassy in Nairobi, in Kenya, which happens also to be the location of a United Nations headquarters. We don't think twice about having the one in New York or Geneva, but we had none in Kenya. We have an honorary consulate and a very close relationship with Rwanda. And we have a good, similar relationship and honorary consulate with Nigeria. And we have a strong relationship with Senegal. The reality is, and we're building one out with South Africa. Although, in my view, it is Botswana more than any other that ought to be our base because of similar ecosystems and cultural approaches to business. I am saying these things because I hope that somewhere in this audience or somewhere among those who are listening to this speech, that people understand and recognize that we have placed a physical presence there in order to begin to open up opportunities for our people. And I'm very happy that we have seen people already start to take advantage of that. And in Trinidad, with the establishment of Republic Bank in Ghana, it makes it easier because people are more comfortable when they recognize financial institutions with which they have an appreciation or understanding. I have no doubt that equally we may well see others coming the other way here at some point. But I say these things simply to say, Barbados is a hub. It is our home, but it is a hub. It is a place from which we do business, and it is a place in which we do business. But the one critical aspect for the conduct of business is the entrepreneurial spirit and the willingness to take risk. We will continue to put the systems in place at the legislative and the institutional level and in terms of our fiscal policies to help small businesses. But I want Bajans to have the heart-to-heart conversation with each other, to begin to understand that if you try to do everything on your own, rather than looking to see how you can collaborate, how we can have more angel support, where we can have more venture capital funds, how we can have more equity involvement on the part of people, how we can move companies into the public sphere, that all of these things are going to be necessary for us to grow and to be able to keep us competitive and to keep our costs affordable. The last point I'll make is that we are in the business right now as the lead for the CARICOM single market and economy and building out the regional capital markets. It is critical. And if we can do that, and we can get the mutual recognition of companies, the Goddards will not have a problem finding the money to go and register in every Caribbean island. And every island wants a different set of fees and a different set of forms filled out, and you have the capacity and the depth to be able to do it. But these people here who have just won, it will be a burden on you to have to go island by island, country by country by country, to go and register rather than having a mutual recognition certificate for the company you have registered here and vice versa for their companies to be acknowledged here. And similarly, to have a regional capital market where capital can flow and where those who have genuine risk appetite can effectively participate in a seamless way in still what is a microcosm of the global population, because 6 million still ain't nothing, even though it is a lot more than 300,000. So I hope that these few thoughts this evening will inspire in some of us the commitment to recognize that we need to step out of the comfort of our familiar and to begin to see how we can build mechanisms and partnerships for further investment and partnership among our people to grow companies. You know, it is said that Eric Williams once said, half a loaf is better than no loaf at all. And 10%, 20%, 50% of a company that's growing is better than 100% of a company that is declining. I wish all who have supported this process over the last 3 years, I offer them my congratulations, because it's not easy to sustain this kind of effort. But equally to those who participated, I say to you, thank you for having the courage to take the risk to want to expose yourself and to participate. A lot of people don't do it because they're frightened for criticism. But in truth and in fact, it is only in engaging with each other that we learn and we're capable of moving to the next level. Ma'am, I am sorry that you did not win this evening, but But may I say to you that your boldness in the investment which you're making in mushrooms has a future. And it has a strong future because there are more and more people who understand the need for us to live in a healthy environment, and mushrooms have become an alternative to meat for so many on menus across the world. And then there's, of course, the tremendous progress that is being made in the understanding of the medicinal benefits of mushrooms. So I hope that you will keep courage, and that throughout the ministry and continuing with the other partners nationally, that they too will help support you, even though this evening you did not win. I lost my first election. And I am here. So I don't need to say any more to you. Gentlemen, if you can make it on your own, great, but if you need to participate in joint ventures to move to the next level, remember my words this evening. Because at the end of the day, keeping yourselves limited to a Barbados market is not going to help you. I end as I begun. Nobody is going to give us a living. And we have to go out there in the world, earn it for ourselves. And the spirit that you've shown by be willing to take risk is a spirit that I want to see in every Barbadian as we go forward. To Goddard's Enterprise Limited, there can be no greater gift that you have given this country than this entrepreneurial competition. And I want to salute you, and I end equally by reminding you, I would like to see Haipat in Africa, because I know, I say this all sincerity, there is no better ham and there is no better bacon any part of the world than that which is produced by Haipat. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you, Madam Prime Minister. A lady with a vision. And now my final task is to say thanks. First, on behalf of Goddard Enterprises, let me say a big thank you to the Prime Minister for being here and for your support this afternoon. It certainly is no cliche if one talked about taking time from her busy schedule to be here, because we know she has a busy schedule and could probably have been 3 or 4 other places this afternoon, but she chose to be here. Prime Minister, for that we sincerely thank you. To all of the competitors who entered this competition, those from the beginning, to the 2 winners announced this afternoon, and to our other finalists, Deborah, thank you for taking part, for doing the paperwork, for preparing the proposals and all of the progress reports. Even though you might not have won overall, I am sure that you have all benefited from this exercise, no matter which stage you reach. To all the other entrepreneurs and organizations who helped and who took the time to be here this evening, thank you for coming out and supporting the GEL entrepreneurs. I trust that the mix and mingle after will be beneficial to all of you. Appreciation to all who played a part in this ceremony this afternoon, the organizers and the support teams, as well as the staff here at the Errol Barra Center for Creative Imagination, and the team at GCG Events who will provide the refreshment for the mix and mingle. As this is the last stage of the 100th anniversary celebrations, I want to express thanks to the members of the 100th Anniversary Committee for all that was done during the actual celebrations. And to every one of you for taking the time to be here this afternoon, we want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. And now we'd like to invite the Prime Minister and the members of the head table to take photos with the winners, with your prize trophies, and your fancy checks. And after that, we invite everyone to join Dale and Mike, along with the officials from Goddard Enterprises, to retire to the lobby for the mix and mingle. Just a little note, 2 of the entrepreneurs in the competition will share a sample of their products during the mix and mingle. I mentioned before that Mike will let you taste his Bajan beverage, and we also have Cool Comforts Frozen Delights. She will give you a taste of her dessert. So I am sure that they will also appreciate hearing from you and your opinions on their products. So make sure also, it's a mix and mingle. Make sure that you meet 1 new person this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy the mix and mingle. Thank you for coming. Good evening.